The movie is called Jack Reacher. It's based on the books written by Lee Child and starring Tom Cruise. First of all, we know there was a huge, rabid fan base that feels a real intense sense of ownership over it. We wanted to be very respectful to that. On the other hand, we wanted to make this movie in the best way we possibly could. Wanted to make it as big as we could. We wanted to maintain the things that make the book what they are. There's a real sense of wit and complexity and brutality to the books. Those are three things that usually get sacrificed in the first round of script development. And having somebody like Tom enabled us to protect that. Jack Reacher is a former military investigator. He has spent his entire life in the military. He was raised on military bases abroad, served on military bases abroad, and he's something of a Rip Van Winkle. He's returning to the United States where he's actually never really lived. And as soon as he returns, he begins drifting and looking for a place to settle down, sort of looking for the America that he's been defending his entire life. And he has no cell phone, no email, no fixed address, no driver's license, lives on his pension, travels by bus, and becomes enamored with this idea of living in a completely disconnected world, living in a way that he's completely untraceable and unknown. And that leads him from one misadventure to another. The similarity between the two characters in terms of their personality, their response to pressure, their sense of humor, their care for other people, it just seemed like a really good fit. That was critical, and Tom said right from the beginning, when he responded to the script, he said, look, I don't know who you have in mind for this, but I'd love to do it. At the same time, it's got to be something that Lee Child endorses. If Lee says no, I don't want to do it. So Don Granger and I went to see Lee Child in New York, and we'd worked out a very careful speech of how we'd come to see Tom as Jack Reacher. And we'd worked through all the challenges of casting a movie like this, challenges of financing a movie like this, the actors that we thought were right. And you could see Lee he already knew where this was all headed, and he was just waiting for us to finish. And when we told him who we wanted, he said, why wouldn't I want the biggest movie star in the world to play this character? The first rule to all of the action was we wanted to minimize cutting and handheld, which has become sort of the standard right now for action. It was very important to us that you could perceive what was happening in reality as opposed to creating the impression of action using camera tricks and a lot of fast cutting. The trick with that is, in order to make it dynamic, the action has to be real without the help of those devices. The only way to do that is to put the actors in harm's way.